Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to 67 Hail Hail. I'm your host, John, joined by Stevie today. There is no Hamish Carton. He's had a well-deserved day off today. He actually chose to spend his day off following Celtic, going to the Tony Macaroni Arena. Proved to be something of a good luck charm as Celtic finally went away there. Well, for the first time in years, Stevie. Goals from Dyson Media, James Forrest in an own goal. How are you feeling after that?
Good, well, far better than last Sunday, of course. I think everybody in the channel was about to send in some contributions for my well-being after the Hibs game. And I was dreading this one all week, John. I think just because of the record we've had against Livingston, it's been well documented, of course, by everyone in the Scottish media, but of course, Celtic fans, and I even get dragged into it. It became a bit of a sideshow, didn't it? But no, I think after that, and generally after that performance, I feel good, and it's not a repeat of last Sunday, and I think you and everyone else will be happy to see me, no smiling, but content at least.
There's a few things to talk about, some interesting little narratives today, I think. First of all, I would just say, fair play to Livingston. They deserve the results against us over the years, but I just found that very satisfying, Stevie, to beat a team that, would do have a bit of a thing against, certainly a media thing, and the supporters, have bought into all as well. It's been hard not to. Our performances at Livingston just haven't been good enough over the last few years. So to see us go there and comfortably win was very, very satisfying indeed. Going back to the team announcement, though, now it's very interesting because a lot of people were unsure of the team selection today before kickoff, and I think Ange would have been in for some serious criticism today. Had some of the players that he brought into the team, and Maeda himself hadn't performed today. But everyone he brought in there was fantastic, were they not?
Yeah, I thought they were. I wasn't surprised to see Hitati out. I think he's been struggling recently. But I mean, I'm just like everybody was saying Maeda was. I did when he's clearly not. Not saying that is the case with Hitati. I think he will come back into form, John, but he was deservedly dropped today. I was surprised. With the left back situation, a lot of people were up in arms about no JJ there, considering Ralston was starting. But if you remember back to October when we played Livingston and we drew 0-0 at Celtic Park, Juranovic was constantly cutting inside and it made it narrower, and Livingston really exploited that with no one overlapping, so I wasn't surprised to see Taylor there. But yeah, Maeda was a big one for me because I did expect to see Gigi on for the start. Maeda's been toiling recently, but he shut everyone up. He really rose to it today, and I was absolutely chuffed for him, John.
I thought he was fantastic. I mean, it's not just... I thought he was pretty good against St Mirren as well. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about what his game is at Celtic at the moment. But it's just good to see him produce that kind of performance and get on the score sheet. I thought he wasn't just, throttling them in their own half. He was a constant threat to them. And they looked a bit worried about his pace at times for me. And obviously, popping up with the poacher's goal is a bonus that got us on our way. Again, the team selection to kick off the first 10 minutes, it was a bit of a roller coaster. I have to be honest, when Callum McGregor missed the penalty and then he missed that golden chance a minute later, I was fearing the worst and thinking, are we truly cursed at this venue? Is there something wrong with us here? But the team bounced back from it. How were you feeling after that ball went off the post?
Yeah, I think before that when Joe Hart made a brilliant save early doors, it was from, I think it was a throw in or a free kick. It was like a set piece, wasn't it? I remember thinking, oh, here we go. It might have been a corner, but anyway, I think at that point, and then when we missed the penalty in the free header, I'm like, this is going to be a long one. I think the team deserve a lot of credit for bouncing back from it though, because John, they could have dwelled on that, and it really could have ended up, you could have played on them mentally, but to score from a set piece again, what a bonus that was, and Maeda was in the right place at the right time. That'll do, his confidence the world of good, but it was a really good time to score, especially when you would have had a lot of people, John, including a lot of people watching in the channel, ourselves, would have been thinking after the 2 chances, is it going to be another curse again? But no, the timing was outstanding for it.
I just thought the team were so impressive in terms of their pressing of Livingston. They didn't let them get out of their half at all in that first half. And even though we missed those chances, it just felt like a almost sort of constant pressure. And I think that intensity has been missing from Celtic for a few weeks now, and we've all spoken about it. I thought today the intensity was really there. And I think one man set the tone, and that was Jota for me, because he's taken a fair bit of criticism himself for the last couple of weeks. There was audible grumbling about his performance from the crowd at Celtic Park on Wednesday night. He responded today with what I thought was the man of the match performance. I thought he was superb today. His crosses were just terrorising them. His passes, even his ball in from the corner, his dribbling. It was an all-round performance today from him.
Joe, I've got it noted, man. Jota was brilliant today, superb. See, anytime he was on the ball, he was so threatening. He moved with purpose, and what was good about today, I think the last few weeks, John, when Celtic have been playing, we've been sort of just throwing in aimless crosses recently, and I think the managers obviously sat him down and went, no, this has to stop, and I think he changed that today, because what you saw today was, like, I know the second goal obviously came for a purposeful cross, but in general, we were playing a lot through the middle today. It wasn't just aimless crosses, and that's where you saw Maeda thriving as well, because he was dropping deep a lot and he was getting a lot of space in behind. The team were fantastic, but Jota was brilliant today, easily the man in the match, and I think it's just John, we've always talked about it. See, when Jota's on form and he's in the mood, no one can touch him, no one can get near him, and his defenders will hate it. And that Devlin today, he will never be wanting to play him again. But it looks like Livingston obviously are going to get top six, so he'll have to go back to Celtic Park and get roasted by him.
That's the thing about Jota, is like when he's playing well, I think it affects the opposition, and I think they get really scared of him. I think it opens up space for other players. Like, I thought Forrest really grew into the game today. Obviously, he got his goal, but as soon as there were a couple of goals down, they kind of had to come out and try to play a little bit, and it didn't really work most of the time. That allowed the space for Forrest to kind of run in behind, and that pass from Jota was outstanding. That's worth watching again and again. If we can keep him in that kind of form for the last 8 games of the season, then I don't think many teams can stop him. Like, that's the reality of it. It's about keeping him in that form, keeping him motivated, and again, it comes around to intensity. I just thought there was a real intensity about the game today. I thought multiple big calls that Ange made and that team worked, as we've just spoken about. I also thought, the kind of the Bitton and McGregor experiment also worked, and that's another kind of midfield option for Ange going forward. Like, nobody's really spoken about the fact that McGregor can play further forward. He's not really been used in that kind of dynamic number 8 role a lot, but bringing Bitton into that team and having McGregor move there, I thought that paid off today. I thought they were both excellent as well.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. And I thought there was a real hunger about the team today as well, John. It was almost like that team have been listening to it's like all week they've been hearing the same comments about Livingston, who do this, and they're going to make it so difficult. It's almost like everyone forgot, including myself at times, that this Celtic team are very good and have been excellent this season, and it's us that should have been going there to Livingston to cause them problems. It was almost like everyone, the narrative was Livingston are going to give them so many problems, but a lot of people do forget how many talented players we've got. They screw in it and get their act together.
It's funny you say that, because I thought, I do think the players were kind of more up for it today because of all this. And in a way, it reminded me of the first game against Hibs, at Easter Road this season, when everyone was talking about how Easter Road's such a difficult place to go. I know we drew 0-0 there last week, but I'm talking about the first game, in autumn last year. Everyone was talking about how Celtic have struggled in the league at Easter Road for ages, and we went there and beat them pretty comfortably. And I just think, there's something to that. I think there was a bit of extra motivation there for the players today, especially this group of players who tasted defeat at, the Tony Macaroni earlier this season. I think they were determined to go back there and get a good result, which says a lot for the character of this team. I think they're a close-knit bunch. I think they talk about all this kind of thing a lot. I think they know exactly what's going on. I think they're very well clued into how the kind of supporters are feeling, what the kind of media, stuff around the team has been talked about, and they'll never admit it in public. But I think they're a very aware team, a very canny team like that, and I like that. I think that's a good thing. I think if you can find little bits of extra motivation, little bits of intrigue going into a game, then I think that brings out the best of athletes, and I think the players in this team are no different.
No, I agree with you as well. I'm pretty sure there was a 6-7 Hail interview as well, John, with, might have been Vince Regari, I think, back then, when he was saying that Ange is totally tuned in to what people were saying online and the media and that as well, so he wouldn't have been letting all the wee snide comments go by him as well. And as you say, anything at all that can feed into, starting the players out the malaise that we saw last Sunday, and kicking them on would have been a good thing.
Yeah, I think it was Ryan. It was right. It was Ryan McGowan on 6-7 Hail said it. Ryan McGowan was going on about how Ange might have a burner account on Twitter and all this sort of crazy stuff. I'm not sure if it's quite gone that far for him yet, but as I say, I do think they're all clued in. Like, what you're thinking going forward now, like we've got 8 games left, we've got 24 points to play for. I'm not trying to get too ahead of myself, and I'm not, making any definitive predictions. But I just feel like we're in a really, really strong. I think we're in a stronger position than perhaps people realise. We've also not got the fact that we're not going to be playing 2 games a week going forward. I think that's another factor.
Mm-hmm.
I think 5 of our last games are at home, something like that. I don't think it's 4 and 4. So I'm just looking at the upcoming schedule. I know we've got to play the top 6 teams, but this is ours to lose now, surely.
Yeah, because again, head by 3 points now as well. But I think it is a 1 game at a time thing, and I'm going to, for myself personally here as a fan, I think last Sunday I had to take a right good look at myself and possibly overreacted, but I was annoyed just like everyone, because I know that we can play better, John, and I know that's not the Celtic that we've been seeing this season. That's all it was. It wasn't just because we didn't win. It wasn't a case of chucking the toys out the pram or that. It was the nature of the performance we put in, but I understand we're not going to be getting a brilliant performance every week, and we do have to do what we can just to get over the line. But John, what I really liked today was, I expected today to be similar to last week, but it was a case of do whatever we can as long as we just get the 3 points. We put in a really good performance today. The tempo, the hunger, the intensity was there. We controlled that game, and the team that started were excellent to the point where we weren't crying out for subs. We didn't look tired. We didn't look fatigued after like 60 minutes or so. The team were well in the game and well in top, and they were, I know Livingston got a goal out of nothing. That was the only annoyance, but other than that, John, we were excellent today, and we did get the 3 points that we've always been crying out for, saying that we needed. So I think that was the most pleasing aspect of it for me. Now, I understand that next up is Tannadice, I believe that's right, in the Cup, isn't it?
Tannadice in the Cup, and then at home to Ross County.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so as I said, 1 game at a time, so I'll focus on the Tannadice one. But now it's a case of not just that. It'd be nice, right, if we could get a performance like that and a result to go in the next round. But I'll probably try and screw the nut a wee bit now when it comes to a Celtic team, and just accept that I have to now trust the manager a wee bit more. It is getting to a anxious stage of the season for everyone. We're all desperate to see the Celtic team win that league, and I can understand there can be a pass, can't there, when you see the reactions of some fans when it gets to this stage of the season, because it is nerve-wracking. But I think after today, I will hold my hands up and trust the manager a bit more, because he's earned it enough all season anyway. Certainly with 1 trophy in the bag as it is, John, and we're top of the league with 3 points, by 3 points even. So I think that's the one thing I've learned from it here.
Yeah, I think today's significant for a couple of reasons. First of all, I think every Rangers supporter would have been hoping that we would have dropped points today. Some of them would have expected it. This was a game that we're looking at as a weekend that we're looking at to get back into the title race, and we've just denied them that open door, right? We shut that door on them, and that's a big moment. Another big moment is that we're guaranteed to go to Ibrox, top of the league.
Yeah.
Because even if Ross County beat us, our goal difference is such that we're not going to go to Ibrox in second place. That, I think, again, a little bit significant there. We need a draw at Ibrox. We don't need to win at Ibrox in this situation, and I think that's a definite advantage. We've got the cup is its own thing. Like, everyone wants to win the Scottish Cup, and there's obviously pressure on every Celtic game. But I don't think it's the worst thing in the world for it's 8 days away. Got training pitch, more time in analysis. I think that will be good for the team again. Then we'll go to Tannadice, see what happens. United will be up for that, because the Scottish Cup's big for the teams outside the Big Two in Scotland this year, because it guarantees them group stage football in Europe next season, in either the Europa League or the Conference League. So that Scottish Cup is massive for a team like United. That'll be a tough game. I'm not taking that for granted at all. But you would expect us to win against Ross County, go into that international break, and then it's, all hell sets loose at Ibrox. I honestly think we're in a really, really strong position. I don't want to overplay our hand. But today, you're 10 times happier being a Celtic fan than a Rangers fan.
10 times happier being a Celtic fan than a Rangers fan in any case, John, in any situation. But you're talking about Ibrox, right? And I get it in terms we'll still be top of the league no matter what. Mm-hmm. But I can't imagine Ange Celtic team going there and playing for a draw. I can't imagine Ange going anywhere and playing for a draw. That's the thing. He'll be looking to go there and win. I would never expect him to be any different, no matter how many injuries we've got, no matter how many suspensions or whatever, even if we have to draft in players for the B team, the reserves, and you always go anywhere and look to win. That's the type of character he is.
No, I definitely agree. I don't think we'll go in there and play for the draw. It's just nice to kind of know that the pressure's on them to beat us. They've got to beat us. Like, and if they don't beat us, it's getting to the stage where it's almost curtains for me. So I'm just really happy because I was looking at the Hibs game and the Livingston game in close succession, and I was kind of fearing it a little bit. I didn't expect to drop points today because you never do. But when you're looking at the fixture schedule, like I was looking at it a few weeks ago, and this Livingston game stood out like a sore thumb. So, to get through it, but not only to get through it, but get through it comfortably for me. I didn't think we were in any danger today whatsoever from the performance. I just think is very, very satisfying. And like you were kind of saying to me off air, Stevie, I think it's notable if you look back to September and the progress we've made. It says something a lot, doesn't it? From the fact that we've struggled against Livingston, and now this team knows how to beat Livingston.
Yeah, what I was saying about to you before we went on Leah Live, John, was like September when we lost 1-0. I remember saying at the time, as much as we're all backing Ange and I like this manager, it doesn't seem as if he's got a plan B. Now I threw out it reminds me of a certain Mark Warburton. I'm just going to say it now, and everybody in the comments can go full pelt on me here.
Yeah, go full pelt on Stevie for that comment, please.
But I did say that. I'm holding my hands up. I did say that and hold my hands up to it. And now, I wasn't wondering, is he going to survive as manager? But I'm like, are we going to be able to win the league if we don't have a backup plan because we just look to play all the same way? Whereas now, fast forward here today, and we were so comfortable. And not only that as well, like just wee things, John, I noticed, like when we took this thing out of the game, is like half an hour in, Joe Hart, you've seen him at Celtic Park, no matter what, when he gets the ball, he's playing it forward. I think here today, when we went 1-0 up, the fact that we missed a couple of chances, and I noticed a couple of times when he got the ball, he just took his time over it before releasing it. Just wee small things like that, where in the past I haven't seen us do that. And I like to see it because just wee small things would have been frustrating Livingston today. I think they would have expected us just to go 100% so they could take advantage, get space in behind. They didn't do that. We didn't give them a thing. Other than that daft goal, I felt we were so comfortable today, and that was good. But it'd be so like, if this is, how fitting is it today? If it's a defining one at this stadium where we've now sort of get shotted at hoodoo, and if we can look back on it, has this been the weekend now where it was a big win for Ange after all the abuse that he got back in September? It would be very, very pleasing.
I agree. And I think, whatever happens between now and the end of the season, Ange is going to be doing it his way. And it's there's been a couple of trying times along the way, but for the most part, I think if you buy into what Ange is wanting to do, I think you'll be rewarded. And I think that's what's happening now. Obviously, I think the supporters have actually given Ange great support since he arrived. Even in the early days, there's been a lot of chatter that he was written off and stuff. But I felt like that was almost noise outside Celtic or perhaps on the fringes of the support. I think the supporters who go to games, I think they've been behind Ange from day one. And I think they're being rewarded for their patience and their support right now, because I think things are coming to fruition. I think this team still does have a long way to go, and they're not the finished article. I mean, we've seen that in Europe recently. So the ceiling's high, but I just feel like we are just keeping that forward progress, maintaining that. And as I say, I think we're in great shape, and I'm excited for what's to come. Unless you've got any other final points, Stevie, I think we'll call it a day. Anything to add?
I do just want to also say shout out to James Forrest. Now, I have been on James Forrest back, not just for the sake of it, because he's really put in poor performances since the winter break again. We all remembered when he scored the goal against St Johnstone and thought, okay, we're going to see James Forrest really challenged for a place in a Celtic team. Didn't happen. And then since the winter break, he's been generally poor. But I thought James Forrest was decent today, and it was a really good goal. And I said last week on the channel, I was in a bit of a huff, and I was like writing him off, saying I don't really have any faith in James Forrest anymore. And of course, one performance and one goal doesn't just make everything better. We have to see him kick on from it now and play a big part in the title run-in. So I hope he does. But I just also feel that while, I was critical of him so far this season and last week, I do have to, at least on the channel, hold my hands up and say fair play. He did play pretty well today, and he took his goal really well, so good on him.
Stevie, that's what I like about you. You always take accountability for your opinions, no matter what they are. you say what you feel, and that's what we're like, even if it's positive or negative. Thankfully, it's positive today. Thankfully, you're not in a huff today, and hopefully, you won't be in a huff between now and the end of the season, Stevie. We'll all be celebrating something special this year. For now, we'll leave it there. Hamish will be back on the channel early in the week. I'm not sure what he's up to after his trip to Livingston today. No doubt something messy, but good luck to Hamish for his day off. Good luck to you, Stevie. Have a good week. Have a good week, everyone else, and we'll see you again on 6-7 Hill next time. Cheers. Bye.